just want to talk about being patient, or more importantly, being patient with yourself and other people. And all I can think about is taking things one step at a time. Right now, we have a lot of time on our hands, which can make people anxious and want things to be done at a faster pace because we want to get back to our daily routines. But I've noticed that when I personally am not patient, it leads me to be more anxious with things. And being patient is one of the hardest things just in general because we know we have all these things that we want to accomplish, but either sometimes we don't know how to do them or we're so in a rush that we make mistakes. But it's okay to make a mistake because we're all human. So if you can take things one step at a time, 1 moment at a time, 1 minute at a time, 1 hour at a time, and just let things happen naturally, being patient will help sometimes calm down all the things throughout the day that we feel as though as people we have to accomplish. Because we are so goal-driven. But when we are not patient with ourselves, we get frustrated with ourselves. We start talking down to ourselves. And this is not what we want to do. We want to keep our spirits up, keep the happiness. So when you're feeling like something's not going right or something's not going the way you think it should, just be patient, take a moment, take a breath, and just think, okay, I might not know how to do this right now, but if I just give myself 5 to 10 minutes to figure out how to do this, walk away from it, come back, I might be able to accomplish the one thing that I'm struggling with in that moment. And sometimes we just have to be patient with other people because everybody's going through different things in different moments of time. And sometimes going through something can make your patience short. But if we are loving to one another and just taking a moment to check in on someone, we are being patient with them because being loving is being patient. So sometimes you have to love on yourself and other people to see the patience in you and just be grateful in the moment because everything will come together. You just have to take your time and think about it and go through a process. Patience is not something that's going to come overnight. It's going to be a process, and it's something that we all have to work on one day at a time, one step at a time. Because no one's born with just being patient. It's something that we have to learn and keep learning and allowing ourselves to be okay with things not working out at a certain time. Because if something doesn't work right then and there or right in that moment, it's just not your time to have whatever you're trying to work on. You just have to be patient. And when it's your time to receive whatever you're trying to do, it will come. And then you notice that all that patience just led you to being grateful in the moment. And with patience does come gratitude. So that's the end of this Wisdom Wednesday segment. And if you want to give the next Inspirational Wednesday Wisdom segment, you can do so by leaving me a voice memo of your message on my Instagram, which will be linked in the description of this video, and it's also on the About section on my YouTube channel, and I will give you credit for your message. I will link your channel in the description, letting everyone know it came from you, and giving you all the shout outs that you deserve for making this message. I appreciate anyone that takes the initiative to come up with the next Wisdom Wednesday message. And I will see you all soon. And I hope this message made you think, and we can have a discussion about the message in the comments. Hello dreamers, and welcome back to another segment of Wisdom Wednesday. I appreciate you taking out the time to listen to this segment. But today, I want to talk about forgiving yourself. And the reason why I wanted to talk about forgiving yourself is because sometimes as human beings, we can be our own worst critic. And if I'm honest, I'm guilty of this too. Because as a human being, I can allow the things people say, the things people do to get in my mind, my heart, and my soul. And the things that I do sometimes to myself can be hard. Because I'm like, okay, well, I ate a piece of cake today. And I'm like, I wasn't supposed to eat that cake. Because it has milk, it has eggs, it has dairy, and I wasn't supposed to touch that cake. But I wanted that cake in that moment, and I ate it. It didn't hurt me, but I knew that I'm not supposed to touch this cake. So, just simple things like that, you have to forgive yourself for. If you ate something you weren't supposed to, you even have to forgive yourself for the things that you say to yourself. Because sometimes you're like, if I'm looking in the mirror and I'm like, I don't look beautiful today. That's not true. That's just what I see. But that's not what the world sees when it looks at me. The world could be telling me I'm beautiful. My mother could be telling me I'm beautiful. But when I look at myself in the mirror, sometimes and I'm like, I don't like my hair. I don't like my clothes. I don't like my nails. That's just me being negative because I'm probably in a bad mood. But at the end of the day, I'm like, all these things I have to forgive myself for. Because it's just my thoughts, my emotions taking over for me to put myself in a bad headspace. And that can be contribute to a lot of things. Maybe I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Maybe something happened that affected me negatively. But forgiving myself for the things that I say sometimes when I look at myself in the mirror, or the piece of cake I just put in my mouth that I know right on well I wasn't supposed to touch. It's just me saying that I'm human and I'm perfectly imperfect. And as long as I keep striving to be a better person to myself, I'm going to be okay. I have to be able to wake up and say, I forgive myself if I've done anything to myself that I wasn't supposed to do. Because negativity can be the worst sometimes. You might wasn't thinking it in the moment, but something happened to flip that switch and you just start going in on yourself. You're looking at yourself like, why am I feeling this way? What happened? How did I get to this negative space? It's because I'm angry. It's because I'm angry because I know that I wasn't nice to myself, and that makes me angry. I wasn't loving on myself the way I know I should. I wasn't being kind to myself. And if I'm not kind to myself, how can I be kind to other people? If I'm not kind to myself, how can I tell other people to be kind, or you shouldn't talk to yourself like that? How can I do that? First, I have to forgive myself for all the wrong things that I've said to myself, or all the wrong things that I put in my mouth when it concerns food, or just for waking up and the first thing when I look in the mirror and I'm like, I'm not beautiful. But 5 minutes ago, my mother tells me, girl, you look beautiful today. And I'm like, oh, no, I don't. But that's me having to check myself. That's me having to say, oh, somebody just told me I look beautiful. Say thank you. Take the compliment. Put the positive thoughts back in your head. You are beautiful. You are smart. You are talented. You are powerful. The world is at your fingertips. I just have to be able to say, I'm going to be positive. I'm going to be better. And I'm going to forgive myself in this moment, right now, because you're right. I woke up in a bad mood. So I'm just being critical of myself and being critical and being critical. And sometimes we can all be critical of ourselves just because we're in a bad place. But being critical of yourself just means you have to work harder. You have to work harder at turning the negative clock back. We have to turn the negative clock back and be positive. And I know during this time, seeing with everything that's going on, that can be hard. But just saying the words, I forgive myself. And if you have to list everything you forgive yourself for, then do it. If you can say the words and say, I'm going to try and be better with myself because I love myself, I care about myself, and yes, I care about other people too. But right now, in this moment, I need to be here for myself. I need to be a better person for myself. Because sometimes being upset, being hurt, listening to all the bad things that other people have to say have creeped in my head. And I just started looking, well, if the world sees me as this negative, mean person, then how can I stand in this mirror and say I'm not mean, I'm not negative, I'm not angry, and all of these things when the world just told me that? No, I'm going to sit here and say I forgive myself for thinking this or allowing somebody else to allow me to think this. I forgive myself, and I'm going to stand in this mirror or look at myself in the mirror and say, I love myself. I love myself because I am doing what I need to do. I'm working on being happy. I'm working on being healthy. I was able to look at myself in the mirror and say, I'm beautiful. I don't want to sit here and be negative to myself anymore. Because it's time for me or anyone else to just forgive yourself for the doubt you put on yourself, for the criticism you give yourself. You don't have to be critical of yourself because you were given a talent. You just have to figure out how to work your talent, to work what you've been blessed with. That's not for you to be critical because what you do, no one else can. How you are, no one else can be you because you are you. You are created in a beautiful image. You are designed in a beautiful image. And you don't have to be critical of yourself. You don't have to be negative to yourself. You don't have to be that way. You can say, I forgive myself and move on. And how do you know that? Because God already forgave you. If He can forgive you instantaneously and never bring it back up to your face, you can forgive yourself for whatever you need to. It's going to take some time, but trust in yourself. Trust in your abilities to be great. Trust in your abilities to bring hope to people. Trust in your abilities to be happy. Trusting in yourself means you have forgiven yourself. And if I'm honest, it's something that I have to do on a daily basis. Not being critical of myself. And it's taken me a long time to tune out the criticism from myself, from the world. But not listening to criticism, and I mean the negative criticism. I don't mean someone that's trying to help you grow. I mean the straight up, rude, nasty, mean things just because they can. Look in the mirror and say, I forgive myself. Say I'm beautiful. Say I'm smart. Say I'm talented. To say I'm great at whatever it may be is being positive. And when you put out that positive image, you are forgiven. You are forgiven in yourself. And sometimes it's okay to be a little selfish and say, I'm not the best person I need to be for myself. And that just works in your forgiveness for yourself. Sometimes it's okay to say, I need to take this moment to look at myself and say, I forgive myself for thinking I don't look cute, for thinking I'm not smart, for thinking I'm not beautiful. Because if you don't hear anything else I'm going to say in this moment, please don't be your own worst critic. Because there is someone that cares about you. There is someone that loves you. There is someone that adores you. God loves you. God trusts you. God has already forgiven you. He's forgiven you for whatever you think you need to be forgiven for. And if He can forgive you, you can forgive yourself. And if you need someone to say, I forgive you, I'm going to say it for you. I forgive you. I might not have known what you were thinking. I might not know how you feel or why you need to be forgiven. But at least I can tell you, you have been forgiven. Now, if I can tell you that you are forgiven, if God can tell you that you are forgiven, you must look in the mirror and tell yourself you are forgiven. Now, if there is anyone that wants to give the next inspirational message for Wisdom Wednesday, I will have my Instagram linked in the description box of this video. And you can send me a message there. I will shout out your channel. Just send me the voice recording and we can do that. So just know that I love you. I adore you. You are forgiven. And keep on reminding yourself not to be your own worst critic. So if you need to reach out to me, I will leave all my social media links below. And have a great day, dreamers. Hello, dreamers, and welcome back to this week's segment of Wisdom Wednesday. This week, I want to talk about it's okay to say no. We are some of the most busiest people. And we are kind-hearted, and we have a loving spirit. And when we are kind-hearted and loving, we want to say yes to everything. Because we want to help ourselves, we want to help other people, and we want to show the kindness and love that we receive on a daily basis. And sometimes that comes with saying yes to a lot of things. And sometimes when we think about it, it's like I said yes to 10 things this week. So that means out of the 7 days, I have to do something every day. And I'm going to have more and more to my list that I have to get done to accomplish the 10 things that I said yes to. But at the same time I'm saying yes, I'm thinking about when am I going to have time to sit down, take a breath, relax, and not think about the 1,000,000 things I have to do because I didn't said yes to 10 things that I did not plan on, but my loving and giving nature wouldn't allow me to say no. And my to-do list is like 10 things long every day, sometimes more. And I just added another 10 things to the 10 things that's already on my everyday list. Why did I do this to myself? Why did I do this to myself is the question. It's because our loving and giving hearts won't allow us to say no. Sometimes with saying no comes with guilt because you feel like, well, if I say no to this person, they're going to be upset with me. If I say no to this opportunity, I'm not going to get another one. If I say no to anything, I'm not going to get another chance. And yes, you will. You're not saying no forever. You are saying no in this moment. In this moment in time, you are saying no. You're not saying no, I'm never going to do this again for the next 365 days. You're just saying, I'm saying no today. Tomorrow, if you ask me, I might say yes. But today, if you ask me, I have to say no. I need some time for myself. I just need a moment to think. I need a moment to sit on the couch without thinking about work, without thinking about the dishes I have to clean, the dinner I have to make, the clothes I have to wash, or whatever else you do in a day. Saying no doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you human. We all have to remember that we are human. We are not superheroes. We love to think that we are superhuman. We can do everything. We don't get tired. Our bodies don't break down. We don't get sick. We are not superhuman. We are a human being trying to make it day to day, doing the best we can, trying to be as kind as we can, trying to be as loving as we can. Now, I'm not saying you have to say no all the time. I'm saying if you have a list of 20 things, I would think you could say no to half of that list just for one day. Or if you're working a job where you work for yourself and you know you already have 30 clients that you have to take for the week, you could say, I'm not going to take any more clients, or I'm not going to book any more clients, at least for the next 2 weeks, until I finish dealing with the 30 clients on my list. I'm not going to add any more to my plate than my body will allow me to. Yes, we all want to be superheroes, but we got to remember, we are human. We are forgiven for the things we say no to. We are forgiven for the things we do wrong. And saying no is not a wrong thing. Saying no can be a protection for yourself or the other people involved. Some things aren't just a good fit for you at the time. Everything